Good evening, my brothers and sisters. It is a pleasure to speak with you. I am Robert, humble messenger of the law of one. It's my pleasure to share with you conscious channeling of LL research. The question tonight has to do with the various religions that we have on planet Earth. They all seem to have a center of truth, but each religion also seems to have a number of adherents who interpret it their own way and who become fanatic in one way or another, trying to make the religion into a dogma, to say this is the way and the only way. Is this a human trait, QO? And how can we really know what is the true path for each of us? It seems like each of us has that spark of the Creator in us that recognizes the truth, and we are more reminded of truth than informed of truth. Can QO please give us some general principles as to how look at the various religions and how to find what is the way for us? We are known to you as the principle of QO. Greetings, my friends, in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, in whose service we come to you this day. Thank you for creating a circle of seeking. Thank you for inviting us to join that circle. Thank you for the excellent question of concerning how each seeker may find one's own way amidst the welter of seemingly disparate theories of who God is and what the nature of creation is. It is our privilege to share our thoughts with you on this interesting subject. As always, we would ask that each entity listen carefully for resonance, not only in the things that we have to say, but in listening to all opinion from whatever source. You are fully able to feel that resonance and that spark of interest, and we would encourage you to wait for that resonance and that spark, rather than taking everything that we have to say as being equally useful. We thank you for this discrimination on each of your parts. It allows us to speak our thoughts to you without being concerned that we will inadvertently infringe upon your free will or disturb your sacred process of evolution in mind, body, and spirit. You ask this day concerning how to wend your way amidst the amazing array of religious and philosophical opinion concerning the nature of the Godhead, the nature of creation, and the nature of purpose of human life. In former days, we would not have been able to have such a simple beginning to a discourse upon this subject. The progress of your science has enabled us to have a fairly straightforward entry into the doorway of the nature of the created universe. Investigation has shown that which seems to be solid matter is actually made up largely of a plenum, or a space in which there is no mass, very thinly populated by energy vortexes. These energy vortexes are the atoms and molecules that make up the cells of your body, as well as the material of all other things that you can see, feel, touch, taste, and smell. These energy fields cooperate together and nest within one another in various ways according to the nature of attraction and repulsion, forming the universe that you see. Scientific inquiry has proven that all parts of the universe communicate and are connected with all other parts of the universe, so that the universe is one thing. This is not given to you by priests or prophets, but by your scientists, who have become the priests and the prophets of your culture, if we may give it that name. What is the nature, then, of these vibratory patterns that arrange themselves hierarchically so as to create orders of magnitude, creating everything from the atoms and molecules within the cells of your body to the star systems within your galaxy? We of the Confederation of Planets in the service of the Infinite Creator have identified the nature of these hierarchical, unitive, and harmonious energy fields as being that of love. The energy that created the stars is that of love. The energy that created you is the energy of love. That does not define love, for if love is all that there is nothing to which to compare it. There is nothing from which to contrast it. In its undistorted form, it is forever a mystery, unable to be plumbed by centers of consciousness which are aware of themselves. The truth of the universe lies most profoundly in the unknowable reaches of the mystery of the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. Yet the universe is unitive, and it is unitive in a certain way. It is unitive holographically. Any one spark of the infinite Creator contains the entire nature of the one infinite Creator. Every cell of your body sings the song of the one infinite Creator. The suns in their courses sing the song of the one infinite Creator. There is fullness to the universe that is intense, as if every particle and iota of the universe were stuffed to bursting with the love and the light of life. You experience life as you breathe in and breathe out. And you ask what this experience is, for you are aware of yourself. And certainly you have many, many voices in your ear, happy to explain precisely what life is and how to live that life in a good way. Please understand, as you look back over some of your most difficult experience with authority figures who have attempted to tell you what to believe, that every entity who seeks to serve the infinite Creator can fall into what the one known as called the trap of teaching in such a way as to constrict the energies of those listening to one's words. Let us look at that energy of the authority figure who wishes to teach well, in order to come into a more compassionate and charitable understanding of what drives such an entity. An entity who is moved and inspired by whatever agency, personality, or inspired writings becomes aware of oneself in a special way. One becomes aware of how alive one is, and one thinks, I must give this gift, this wonderful life I feel to others. I must pass on this wonderful inspiration that is given to me. There is generally no intention of doing anything other than the purest of good. However, the trap of dogma is always waiting for the teacher. It is a wise teacher indeed, who is able to differentiate between one's personal experience with the divine and that which is helpfully expressed concerning seeking the divine. In a world that wishes to codify, organize, and arrange life in an orderly manner, the mystical view, which is found at the heart of all religions, and many philosophies as well, while greatly appealing, is found cumbersome and awkward to teach. When you're speaking of something that is indescribable and ineffable, words fail. The human tendency, then, is to apply an organization to the mystery of the one creator, and different religions have had different reasons to create different structures of belief, which have hardened into dogma. If the Creator is infinite love and infinite light, and if the creation is evolving continuously forever, then there is continuously more of truth than there was before. Consciousness is continuously expanding. The problem with any dogma, then, is that it cannot reform itself to hold the new truth that is flowing forth at every moment from the creative principle. As the seasons change, as the grass blooms and withers again and again, so the consciousness of humankind evolves and grows. You are a point of that consciousness. You have access in your very nature, in every cell of your body, in every thought that you think, to the one infinite creator in its undistorted form. Yet that truth lies deeply protected in you. It is protected from your casual thoughts. It is protected from the stormy seas of your daily conscious experience. It is protected by its placement within your heart. The mind and all of its intellectual forces cannot storm the bastion of the open heart. Entities then seeking to share bits of their truth with others become invested in this codified, formalized, organized structure of thought that add up to a way to seek the one creator. With the gift of hindsight, scholars have often pontificated as to where a certain religion went wrong or how a certain religion has everything right. Yet as soon as the seeking for the one infinite creator becomes codified and organized beyond a certain point, it can be a delimiting influence rather than an expansive influence. Many churches and many different religions decide to bypass the intellect and rest upon the opening of the heart. They engage in song after song that praises the one infinite creator within the language and clothing of that particular religion. Their members are perhaps encouraged to pray out loud and to become ecstatic. And in the surging of the rhythmic cadences of the songs, in the prayers and the praise, the love and the light of the one infinite creator seems palpable. And therefore, the experience of those seeking the Creator in these ways has a certain amount of purity to it, which is missing from those more intellectually organized religions where the mind is the tool used to probe at the meaning of life, of what it is to be a human being, and what it is to serve the one infinite creator. Interestingly enough, love is the one great force that all entities know intimately, but which resists definition completely. And indeed, to attempt to use words to describe love is to attempt to build a great edifice out of pebbles. Love is all that there is. That one thought is the creation. And you have a port on the ocean of that thought in your heart of hearts. Therefore, you are as equipped as any entity in the universe to seek the one infinite creator. You have primary access to that direct experience of the Creator. And indeed, it was for that purpose that you came into this illusion. You are gathering information. You are working with that information according to the biases of your personality and your desires. And as you gather your life experiences, each of you makes choices, which opens to you a way to move forward and to progress. And each of you has had this experience of awakening and coming to the realization that you are a truly powerful entity, able to question and able to seek. Once an entity has awakened and has begun to ask the deeper questions, A rhythm begins to occur between creator and created, the asking and the answering, becoming as entwined as a heartbeat. In and out, pulsing, 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 so that as you seek, so you receive. As you ask, so you receive. It is instantaneous and constant in your life. You have at each heartbeat and at each breath the opportunity to ask and the opportunity to receive an answer. The sticking point here is that answer comes within the mystery of silence. And it oozes up into your conscious experience almost as a surprise to you. You have learned by osmosis. You have soaked up the truth. And as you live out your life, you discover what you are learning as it shows up in your thinking. And many are the epiphanies and ahas of a spiritual life in which the seeker is content to let this teaching occur, mostly in the silence of meditation, contemplation, and the deep resting in whatever practices create for you personally a sacred chamber in which to tell the secrets of your heart to the loving ears of the one infinite creator. You are consciousness. It is not something you possess. It is not a characteristic of you. Consciousness lives your life to the extent you can get the details of your personality out of the way. And yet, the details of your personality are all valuable. Therefore, the perfectly natural desire of the intensely devoted student to cast aside the personality and devote the self entirely to the silence is, for most entities, a solution that shall not be satisfying. For most entities, each coloration and quirk of the personality is there for a reason. Each seeming challenge, difficulty, and sorrow that occurs in the life has been placed there, not to make you stumble, but to help you learn. Entities who give themselves over to a religion and accept its dogma simplify their path in a certain way. And if they're able to dwell within that simplified structure of thought without falling into the trap of judgment of the self and judgment of other selves when they do not believe as do they are very likely to be able to use that religion as a way to the infinite creator that works well. For each religion teaches the basic love of other people and the love of the one infinite creator. And if one entity loves the creator and loves the neighbor as the self, however that is put, the path to graduation from third density is clear. The choices to serve others has been made. The work is good. More and more, however, as entities have matured after many, many incarnations within third densities, entities find themselves unable to restrict themselves to the dogma and the canon law of a particular religion. And when entities find themselves unable to do this, then they are set on a new path, a path of their own choosing, a path which they will create themselves. Any entity can create within oneself a way, a truth, and a way if one begins and ends with love. We would not, for all of the world, criticize or undermine those who are in any religion or belief of any philosophy. The paths to the one infinite creator are as many as the self-conscious beings who seek that creator. Your way will be unique to you, just as everyone else's way is unique to them. It helps to see religion for the kind of powerful influence that it is. If you may see the forces of religion to include that of the world as well as that of the starry heavens, then you may see how quickly the energy of a new religion can become heavy and bogged down with dogma and politics. Look at the religion that this instrument understands the best, for it is her own, the Christian Church. It began in the mysticism of the essences. The one known as Jesus the Christ was trained in the essence way, as well as in the scholarship of the Jewish religion. This entity's stories and parables were about simple things, being a peacemaker, understanding that he who loves the prisoner, the orphan, the widow, is loving Jesus the Christ, understanding that he or she who feeds the hungry is feeding Jesus the Christ. Jesus asked entities to care for each other and to hold all things in common. There was not in any of his teaching instructions on making a church. Indeed, this entity had no home, and during his peripatetic ministry, he walked on dusty trails with very little of worldly goods at all. In his name and in his memory, humankind has created a monstrous, rich, arrogant political organization with many beautiful buildings which reach to the heavens with their spires and their crosses. Yet within them there is no virtue, except in the hearts of those who still seek the infinite creator and use those sacred spaces to do so. Look at any new idea and it is alive. It has a dynamic energy to it that excites people, and people want to capture that and pass that on to their children and their children's children, and So they make another building, another religion, another code to try to capture that which cannot be captured. At the same time, you must appreciate what religion has done for entities on planet Earth. It has given the intellect something to gnaw on. In many different ways, it offers people a chance to meet the Creator. Whether you seek within the bounds of a religion or whether the path upon which you walk is one you have created yourself, your very nature demands that you will meet the Creator again and again. Things will happen to you that are meaningful to you personally and that move your consciousness from one point to another. Whether you are an indigenous entity that has never read a book, an auto mechanic, a college professor, or the most rarefied mystic meditating upon the roof of the world in Nepal or Tibet, you have an equal opportunity to meet the Creator upon the road of your everyday life. Appreciate religion for what it has offered to you and to all. In the mystery of the one infinite Creator, there are no roads. There is no way to think upon the sacred. The only opportunity you have is to be the sacred, and therefore to know it from the inside out. Within churches and temples and synagogues and mosques the world over, you have entities and groups of entities who are dedicated to preserving a certain structure which has been helpful to many entities in their search for the infinite Creator. This instrument, for example, chose long ago in her childhood to live a life of faith within the Christian church as the path of her life. As she understands it then, and as she understands it now, there was a particular virtue to dedicating her life to Christ. This entity was a devotee in a religion that does not usually have devotees of this particular kind, which this entity is. That is, she was not hungry to soak up the dogma, but rather hungry for the mystery that she felt bursting the bounds of dogma. And she understood that in any sacred writing, there is a database of inspired thoughts which bursts the bounds of words when heard again and again in different circumstances of life. And so this entity lives her rule of life. She continues to study the same database, the Holy Bible, which she has studied her entire life, and yet she has rejected all dogma by conscious decision. Now, each entity can make this kind of choice for oneself. And indeed, it is necessary to look carefully and with the artist's eye at how to live a rule of life. We do recommend that each entity create a kind of rule of life for oneself. What we cannot recommend is how that rule of life goes. You need to walk your own path, paying attention for that which the moment brings to you. Some entities are drawn irresistibly to the Christian faith. Some entities are drawn just as irresistibly to the Buddhist faith. There is a path for just about every personality type, and yet all of these paths hold the barest skeleton of truth in its ineffable and mysterious form. All of those structures of thought that religions represent fail. None of them satisfies that thirst to know the truth. This instrument is informing us that we must stop this discussion at this point, so we would end with this thought. You are the possessor of truth, but you do not know that you are. However, the Creator is generous in arranging for you within third density an illusion in which nothing can be known. Nothing can be known, and yet in which you can come to know with a particularly resonant awareness what your path is or what your truth is. You cannot make it happen. What you can do is to set yourself up in an environment which is capable of holding gnosis or knowing. Therefore, trust in your own senses, sensings, thoughts, and feelings, as you seek to awaken, to seek and to serve. Listen and look for the resonances that tell you that you are on the path that is for you. Once you start looking for a resonance, you will find that the creation is full of information for you. And the more that you practice listening, the more that you can hear of the voices that are speaking to you in every moment. We lift you up and honor you in our thoughts and in our hearts, for you have the courage to probe the darkness, knowing that there is nothing but light. We wish you well on your seeking, and thank you for the opportunity to share these humble thoughts with you as you go upon your way. We are those of QO. We find that this group has been exhausted. This leaves us only to say what a pleasure and a privilege it has been to be with you this evening. Your beauty astounds us. Your love of the Creator encourages us. And to be a part of this circle of seeking is a great blessing to us. We leave this instrument and this group in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We are known to you as the principle of QO. Adone, my friends, Adone.